All right, now we move to the United Kingdom, where embattled Prime Minister Theresa May continues to push for support in Parliament for her Brexit deal. With the clock ticking for the deal to be passed, Downing Street has allocated £2 billion and put 3,500 troops on standby to prepare for the possibility of a no-deal Brexit. As the deal that May struck with the EU remains unsupported in Parliament, it's becoming increasingly likely that UK may leave the bloc without reaching an agreement. CGTN's Timothy Warwick has more.
With just 100 days left to go before the deadline to leave the EU arrives, the British government is scrambling to prepare for any possible outcome. UK Brexit Secretary Stephen Barclay has come out defending a contingency plan in the event a no-deal divorce happens, calling it the responsible thing to do, but he maintains that passing the deal is the better option.
The government's priority remains to secure a deal, but we need to recognise with 14 weeks to go that a responsible government is preparing for the eventuality that we leave without a deal.
British government officials, including Barclay, say informing businesses and citizens of the impact of a no-deal Brexit is of utmost importance. However, that's just a small part of this allocation of £2 billion, or about $2.5 billion US. One possible project is to set aside space on ferries to ensure a regular flow of medical supplies. But the part of the plan raising the most eyebrows is Downing Street, putting 3,500 troops on standby. Defense Secretary Gavin Williamson has come out in support of this proposal.
We've as yet not had any formal requests from any government department, but what we are doing is putting contingency plans in place, and what we will do is have 3,500 service personnel held at readiness, including regulars and reserves, in order to support any government department on any contingencies they may need.
Some are saying a contingency plan is a smart move as divisions continue to run deep in Parliament. Earlier this week, the Prime Minister announced the vote on the Brexit deal would be delayed until January 14th, but this was only met with more criticisms, including from Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn, who accused May of trying to run the clock out. No matter the case, the government is looking to put all options on the table. Timothy Ulrich, CGTN.
Well, apparently the United Kingdom is bracing for the unknown. So what exactly is the next Brexit procedure according to the rulebook? Here's a very quick update of the future timeline and also possible scenarios.
To give itself time to build consensus, the Theresa May government has delayed the Brexit vote to January 2019. The deadline for her is January 21st. If her government fails to put its Brexit agreement to vote, or if Parliament rejects her plan by January 21st, the government's power to renegotiate the deal would be curtailed. But if all goes through as planned, the UK would attend its last EU summit as a member in the third week of March. Deal or no deal, on March 29th, the UK will formally exit the European Union. Then a transition period of 19 months would begin, giving both the EU and the UK enough time to negotiate the terms of their future relationship. In October this year, both parties agreed to extend the transition period in case they fail to finalize a formal agreement by December 31st, 2020. Now, let's analyze the possible scenarios. Number one, the British Parliament approves the withdrawal bill before the deadline of March 29th, and the UK leaves the European bloc. Experts believe that unless UK politicians put up a united front to back Theresa May, it's highly unlikely that this scenario will become a reality. The next possibility, analysts say, is the most probable one. The UK Parliament rejects the government's deal and thus begins a complex process. According to the EU Withdrawal Act, in case of a no-deal scenario by January 21st, the government would have to make a statement to Parliament setting out what it intends to do next. Parliament would then have an opportunity to vote on government plans. The MPs could accept, reject, or even amend government plans, though the amendment motions would not be legally binding on the British government. Nonetheless, a withdrawal bill would still need Parliament's approval to formally exit the Union. In the present situation, a consensus within the political class looks highly doubtful, which ultimately leads the UK to a no-deal hard Brexit on March 29th. Economists say this scenario would be disastrous for the country as free movement of people and goods would end and it would result in a long-dreaded hard border between Ireland and the UK's Northern Ireland. With 9SS, this is Victor Ning, CGTN.
And earlier we spoke to Dr. Marina Prantoulis, a senior lecturer in media and politics at the University of Essex in the United Kingdom. And this is what she had to say.
This is a time of national crisis for Britain. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to end very soon, and it reads more like a suspense thriller. So where we are now is that the Prime Minister of Britain, Ms. Theresa May, has scheduled a vote in Parliament for the withdrawal deal on the week starting 14th of January. As you understand, this leaves very little time for any changes or for any debates. We have to be ready to leave the EU on the 29th of March. And what I suspect is that she's trying to win time at the end when the deal will come to Parliament, as I said, the week starting 14th of January. She will probably suggest that either the MPs are going to vote for her deal or there will be no deal. So it will be something like a blackmail. So we are all very anxious, including me and a lot of other EU nationals that will live in Britain, but also the British people, because we know that the scenario of no Brexit deal is going to be catastrophic for the country.